Hey guys, what's up? Today I want to show you 10 JRPGs, great JRPGs, with massive replay value. These are JRPGs that you can play multiple times and it's completely worth your time. So let's begin! Number 10. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Both Xenoblade games have very similar New Game Plus. I picked the first one merely because I liked it more than the second one. Since this is a bit of an open world game, it's worth replaying a few times over to take your time with the enormous amount of side content. I don't think it's gonna have a lot of replay value if you do it all in one playthrough, unless you just wanna play it again and again just because you loved it so much. But then every JRPG in existence will fit the criteria to be here. Okay, maybe not every one of them, but you get the idea. The New Game Plus in the Definitive Edition carries over character levels. Yep, all party members, so you're overpowered from the start, free to skip most enemies and destroy all bosses in no time, including elite monsters and those optional monsters laying about. I feel like because of this, I'm more attracted to the idea of doing side quests because it'll take me way less time to do so. Character arts, skills, affinity coins, items, equipment, materials, gems, etc. also carry over. Shulk's final weapon as well, which is awesome. Similar stuff including character levels and equipment carries over in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now, like most people out there, I'm still playing through the third game, so I don't know if it'll have the same New Game Plus features. I'm hoping it will. Number 9. Valkyrie Stories. I'm sure some of you will bring up the Suikoden games, it's my favorite video game series indeed, but if you recruit all 108 characters on your first playthrough, you get the good ending and that's it. No other routes are available. They only have strong replay value if you love playing them like me. Valkyrie Stories is different because you cannot get all 175 characters at once. And you never will because there's no story feature where all of them can be in your party. In this action RPG, you reach the only branching point in the game halfway through. You either decide to join the humans or the non-humans. Each route is completely different than the other, and it also means a lot of the characters from one side will be your enemies, while most of the ones on the side you picked will be your allies. Playable allies, that's right. Beating the game allows you to enter a secret dungeon like in most RPGs developed by Tri-Ace, such as Star Ocean or Valkyrie Profile. Valkyrie has the most fun one simply because you can go through it over and over again with different party members if you want to. Well, that's what I did anyway. No New Game Plus exists in this game unfortunately, which is why it's only number 9, but it's still an awesome RPG. Number 8. Brigandine, The Legend of Runersia. This game has a prequel on the PS1, unrelated story-wise. I've never finished that one, but obviously it has the same replay value, I'll tell you why. There's no New Game Plus in here either, but these are games where you can choose between 6 completely different protagonists, each running a nation that sets out to conquer the entire continent. In Runersia you do unlock a hidden quest per nation though, but it's nothing that substantial. The replay value comes from simply choosing another nation on your second playthrough and so on. Sure, you'll fight some of the same guys from most enemy nations again, but at least you'll also fight against the ones that you controlled during your first time. And of course, events and characters are completely different since now you're playing from a different point of view. There are a lot of JRPGs out there with multiple protagonists like Romancing Saga or Trials of Mana, but you have to do the same things and watch very similar events over and over. They do have replay value, but not as much as a game like this one. Plus, one playthrough is relatively short and you can do it in about 15 hours or so, depending on the difficulty mode you chose. This is an excellent game, also available on the Switch. Number 7. Vanguard Bandits. A grid-based tactical RPG where your characters fight in these mech-looking knights caught up in a war. A physical copy is very rare and expensive, but fortunately you can get its digital release on the PS3 or PS Vita stores for dirt cheap. That or you can just emulate it. Anyway, Vanguard Bandits is just like Brigandine in the sense that there is no new game plus. It doesn't have multiple protagonists either, just one, except in here, there are completely different paths to follow and therefore multiple endings. If you don't want to restart the game over and over every time, it is advised to save on a different slot every time you come across a branching point. Since Vanguard Bandits has a terrific, well-written story and not your cheesy plot full of anime tropes, it is completely worth playing through its 3 main routes, each with their own endings. Keep in mind that you will also play through different maps, fight different enemies, and recruit different allies depending on the route, cause sometimes in some games with multiple routes, you end up doing mostly the same. Not in Vanguard Bandits, which is why it has better replay value than most JRPGs of its kind. Number 6. Shin Megami Tensei 5. All mainline SMT games have different routes and endings, though most of them share some of the same bosses or similar events. While I don't think it's the best of them all, I picked 5 because it does have the better gameplay. And this is important because after all, you'll have to redo nearly 80% of the game to reach that point where the story branches. Fortunately, you can do this on the beautiful New Game Plus. Reborn mode will carry over your character's level, skills, money, items, and most importantly, all demons you had before you beat the final boss. In their levels. Other cool features are there, such as being able to fuse 2 story demon characters, so it's got the best New Game Plus across the mainline titles in my opinion. Sure, you'll have to replay the majority of the game again, but completely overpowered, and in a hard-ass game like this, it's very worth it. But my point is, doing everything again, if you wanna be overpowered that is better in this game than in the others for 2 simple reasons. No random encounters, or no hard to avoid enemies like in 4 and Apocalypse, and far less annoying labyrinths or puzzles. That's why it only took me like 10 hours to beat through the whole game again to reach the branching point. Number 5. Landon 1 and 2 Remakes. Both games are included in this release on Switch, PS4 and Steam, hoping to get the other 3 games remade in the future as well. Anyway, they're strategy RPG remakes of the original 2 games on the Sega Genesis. Both versions have not only multiple routes but also multiple endings. A guide is recommended to get everything in a few playthroughs, cause I'm talking about 8 routes with several endings for the first one and nearly 72 endings for the second one. Sure, most variations are very simple, so getting them all might not be that worth it. Fortunately though, these remakes come with a story tree which you can use to replay the chapters where the story branches, so obviously using multiple save files helps out a lot to avoid restarting the games over and over. Unlike in Brigandine though, these 2 remakes also offer a new game plus where you carry over things like levels, so if you want to, you can restart them and destroy everything easily until you reach any branching point. Or you can just use the story tree to jump back over leveled to previous chapters like I mentioned. These 2 games are really fun to play, easy for the most part, which means they're also ideal for beginners into strategy RPGs. Number 4. Nier Automata. This one is a bit like the Landon remakes in the context of being able to replay chapters to get the different endings. It doesn't have any different routes whatsoever though, at least not in the literal sense. Instead, doing this or that quest or this or that differently will alter some scenes. You will also get slight variations for the endings, 26 in total, though most of them have barely any relevant differences. It's still fun getting them anyway, cause it's so easy. You don't necessarily have to restart the game since, like I mentioned, you can reload chapters for that. And once again, just like in the Landon games, this is a short adventure, so it's not like it'll take you 40 hours to get just 1 or 2 endings. You can get them all in one playthrough by replaying certain chapters, though I do recommend following a guide for this. Automata plays heavily with the player's perspective as opposed to the characters, so it might be confusing at first why it feels like it's forcing you to play the first arc again right after finishing it. That's all I'll say to avoid spoilers, but trust me, it's worth it. The game has incredible pacing, awesome controls, great combat, and supreme story writing. So yeah, massive replay value here. Number 3. Lancer, Wayfarer of Time. The Lancer series is known for having also different routes and endings, all developed by the same guys who made the Landon games, Careersoft, nowadays merged with Atlus. However, I picked the 4th game over the others because it's the one with more routes and endings by far. In the others, there's just 1 or 2 routes with endings depending on the female character you bond with. Same with my favorite of them all, Heritage of War. On the other hand, Wayfarer of Time offers 4 branching paths that are completely different from one another, with different missions and characters. It also includes your usual bonding features with the ladies. Overall, this game has 40 different endings, oh yeah! In addition, it has a unique feature instead of a New Game Plus. Once you restart the game, you get a set of identical accessories that greatly increase the stats of your characters. And boy, for a brutally hard game like this one, it marvelously comes in handy to play through those routes. But there's one that is so difficult, not even the accessories will help you that much. I'll let you figure out for yourself which one I'm talking about. Number 2. Devil Survivor 1 and 2. In case you don't know, these two were also developed by Careersoft. Oh yeah. Both these games have the exact New Game Plus, offering also different routes and endings. Most of them are locked into one specific character, leading to alternate events and maps, which is the reason why these two are so high on the list of this video. I value a lot a game that doesn't force me to go through nearly the exact same events and battles, posing as a branching path. That archetype right there reduces replay value in my opinion. Devil Survivor 1 or 2 are therefore true role-playing games because several decisions you make throughout them deeply affect the story, the outcome, the missions, and some of the characters you'll get. Doing things differently in every playthrough greatly spices things up here. However, the New Game Plus doesn't let you carry over your levels. What it does carry over though is 1, 4, 8, or all the demons you have depending on how well you perform in the game. Trust me, even carrying over just one demon makes a world of a difference, having a broken party member from the start. You also carry over cracked skills, money, action house tiers, discounts from summoning demons, and it removes the penalty levels for fusions. You also unlock a few special boss fights. Isn't that awesome? It's like the games are giving you extra content merely by playing through them again, something you were going to do either way to get those different routes and endings. Number 1. Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. Trigger and Cross were fundamental in JRPG history precisely because of their replay value. Back in the 90s, not too many were making their games like this, which is why you didn't see a lot of JRPGs from that era in this video. The genius Masato Kato, who spearheaded the script of these two games, came up with the idea of multiple endings and routes, as an addition to the alternative universe and time travel plot inclusions. So while both have a variety of endings, only a handful of them are worth getting since the rest are just silly jokes the developers came up with. Cross, however, has more replay value than Trigger because its routes can alter several events of the story and obviously the characters you'll get. It's impossible to get all 44 in one playthrough, especially since some of them won't join you if you make a different decision. It is advised to start the game from scratch once you finish it once, instead of using another save file. This is because both games are challenging, especially Cross, and since almost everything carries over, levels, money, equipment, etc., it makes it much better and easier getting all the endings, particularly for Cross. The recent remaster included the option to turn off enemy encounters and fast forward everything. This last feature was only unlockable after beating the game in the original PlayStation for the first time. You can also fight the final boss right away if you want to from the beginning once you get to the beach. Anyway, so many good reasons to replay these two excellent RPGs. Give any version of them a try if you haven't. Alright everybody, that's my video. I know there are way more JRPGs with a lot of replay value. Leave them all in the comments, but these are 10 JRPGs that I thought were amazing games with massive replay value. So thank you very much for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!